So I had a doctor and then the second doctor tell me that I may only have about a month or two to live. I don't know. I don't know how much I trust doctors. But I'll get into that in just a second. I wanted to give you a little update what's going on. As you know, I told you that I was going to move the batteries, the charge controller and the inverter from that old truck camper there into the new shed. But I'm still waiting on a few things. I have twisted a bunch of these wires together, and these wires are going to connect the batteries. So this wire here would go to, say, a positive, 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 and then negative, 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 negative to all 8 batteries. And originally I thought I'd just twist them together and wrap it around the post, and then I can screw that nut down. But I thought, no, I want to do it correctly. And so I ordered a bunch of these circle, I don't know what you call them. It was hard enough to find. That way I can just bolt it down, and if I want to change it around, I can change it around without having to risk breaking the wire. Now, this is 12 gauge wire, 12-2 with ground. So that means there's 3 strands of wire in there, negative, positive, and ground. So I twisted all 3 of those together. It gives me a gauge of 7. So 7 gauge wire, which is more than enough. I think I only checked it, and if at max my well pump kicks on, it would need 8 gauge. And so I got 7 there, so that'd be plenty. So those are coming tomorrow, the first set. What I did, I was stupid. I ordered a set one day and I miscounted. I was thinking I needed 16 because I got 8 batteries. 8 for negative, 8 for positive, what I was thinking. But I forgot each wire requires 2 of those. So originally I ordered 30, which wasn't enough. I still have been too short, I think, right? 16 and 2, regardless. So I ordered another, I think 20, because I'd like to have some spares on hand. And then we'll get this old shed or camper knocked down, kind of improve the looks of our place and be able to navigate a little better. And I have told you that Carolyn and I switched to a carnivorous diet. Since we did, our health has just gotten so much better, physically feel better. I told you in the past I've had asthma and I've had really bad allergies. Well, the more research I do, the more I realize that the allergies contribute to the asthma. So when I started eating meat exclusively, my asthma cleared right up, and I really don't have an issue with it anymore. And so I keep a little, well, actually keep 2 little bottles of Primatene Mist. You can buy them at the Walmart. I keep those around just in case it flares up. And every now and then, I'll feel like I need to loosen up my lung capacity a little bit, but for the most part, I'm pretty much cured of the asthma problem. So much so that I can walk up and down this hill all day long and not even feel it. I can walk up the street there, and it used to be like, let's take a break. It was overwhelming. You're breathing heavy. Now I walk up to the street and I don't even realize it's a hill. And it's a steep hill. We live kind of in a mountainous area of Missouri. So it's a pretty steep hill. I went down to the natural spring the other day. I showed you the natural spring. I think I've showed you that natural spring maybe 4 times in my videos. And I walked down there. It's a good, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile away. So I walked down there and I walked back, and well, coming back is a hill. Oh, that was exhausting coming up that hill for that long. Well, last time I went up it, what, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, I was just cruising up like it was no big deal. And I've noticed that, you know, most people, they kind of rock back and forth to get momentum as they're walking, especially when they're walking uphill. Well, I've noticed that I let my legs do all the work, and it feels really comfortable. So Carolyn and I have lost quite a bit of weight. That being said, it's not weight per se that we've lost. We just lost body mass. We gained muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. As a matter of fact, there's this YouTuber said that she was gaining weight on the carnivorous diet, and I struggled to believe that. Boy, I just couldn't believe it. My guess was she may have been losing some fat and gaining muscle, because what happened to me was Carolyn said, boy, you're looking really good. You've lost some weight. So I jumped on the scale and I hadn't lost any. She said, that's not possible. I can see it. Well, I can see my stomach. I mean, my t-shirts fit again. So I know I've lost body mass. So I weighed 195 pounds before I lost all the body mass, and then I lost the body mass and I weighed 195 pounds. Well, now I'm down about 175 pounds and I've pretty much stabilized. Now I will admit that once a week Carolyn and I still cheat and we have some ice cream, and I know it's sugar, but it's also dairy. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm making excuses, but we still enjoy the ice cream. We're not completely dedicated to it, but we are really gung-ho about it at least. And then Carolyn, yeah, man, everything is cured on her nearly. I mean, it's just incredible. Of course, she's lost the body mass, but her anxiety. And I just watched a video about anxiety, well, it's more about the brain function and meat. And there's this chemical, taurine, or I forget what it's called, but it can only be found in meat. They've done a bunch of studies on this. And don't quote me on what it is. I probably am not saying it right. And they found that this T word, whatever it is needed for proper brain function. So if you have anxiety or depression and you're just eating primarily carbohydrates, you don't eat a lot of meat, you're probably not getting enough of that T word, whatever it is. So vegans are actually having to take supplements of this thing because they get this brain fog. Well, Carolyn's anxiety has just basically went off, just shut off. I mean, she, every now and then you can see that she's starting to get stressed, but boy, it's not near as long. Used to what, last weeks when she had an attack. But now if she's feeling stress from it, it may last a few hours. So it's gotten a lot better for her, and of course her health has gotten so much better. And again, the first years, maybe the second year we were here, she could barely get up this hill once a day to the house, to the tiny house, when we first moved in the tiny house. And she had a garden down here. Well, the second year after she started eating the carnivorous diet, she was carrying buckets of water down to her garden. This was before we had tomatoes last year. And we were just eating tomatoes as our flavoring, but we've even got off the tomatoes. So she was carrying buckets of water down here to water the tomatoes. This year we don't have a garden, as you can see, because it's just not necessary. I need to cut the grass, but it's been so dry, it's just going to kill it if I do that. So I've been kind of letting it grow. So she's feeling much better. But one of the things I've noticed is preppers. And preppers always talk about being prepared and SHTF and the end of the world, and every day they come out with a new video. Oh, okay, so I got the newest scenario of the end of the world. What's funny is some of these people have actually predicted the date that the problem is going to happen, and it's still, we're here, everything's fine. But that's what they do. But they rarely talk about how to actually prepare for anything. Occasionally, let's say they make 10 videos, they may have one that says this is how you do this particular subject. But like I said, you know, every day I'm trying to show you something new and do something educational every day, and I'm not even a prepper. I just kind of live off grid. You know, here's how you hook up solar panels, and I spent 2 weeks showing you how to do that, or at least explaining it. I don't show too much because it's hard for me to operate the camera and do all the things I need to do, moving solar panels around. And so I explain it step by step, show you the components. Several of these preppers, they go outside and they're making excuses, and they're profusively sweating, and it's just unbearably hot. Oh, it's Tennessee, it's really hot down here. It's Texas, it's extremely hot down in Texas. And well, it's hot in Missouri too. Missouri gets pretty dang warm. And I go out and work. The other day I had a solar panel problem, and it was noon when I discovered the problem. Sun is just straight up, about 90 degrees, 60% humidity, and I'm out there just working. A prepper probably should prepare their health. And Carolyn and I are always looking at our health. One of the things I'm really working on right now is trying to figure out why I have allergies so bad. I got poisoned by mold. I live in an apartment and there was mold in the walls. I didn't know it. And I had this huge allergy problem. Oh, it was terrible. I had rashes everywhere. Well, it poisoned me. Well, they gave me steroids and it blinded my eye. So now I gotta go get my eye fixed. Well, I'm actually trying to figure out how to fix my eye too. And I feel like, I can see the camera now. I feel like it's getting better. We've got these eye drops and I take these vitamins and I feel like it's getting better. And a lot of doctors on YouTube say that the carnivorous diet will help you with your eyesight. Well, not so much the carnivorous diet, just getting off the carbs and sugar. I should get off the ice cream. It might help my eye too. But I used to have acid indigestion every night. I'd have to take baking soda. I'd just take a spoonful of baking soda every night. Oh, it was terrible. Well, I don't have that problem anymore. Had hyperglycemia. So I always had to have peanut butter around. Always had to have peanut butter around. And I've had that since I was a kid. I remember the first time I was able to articulate to someone of an adult figure what my issue was. And my grandma on my dad's side said, oh yeah, I have the same problem. I know exactly what you're talking about. Just take a tablespoon of peanut butter. And it did. Peanut butter always cured the problem. Within minutes, seconds, cured the problem. But I don't even have the problem anymore, so I've gotten rid of the peanut butter. I mean, I feel confident enough that I'm cured of that problem that I don't keep peanut butter in the house, because that's carbohydrates. So I'm much healthier, can move around. I watch these preppers and they just can't even walk up a hill. Well, if you can't walk up a hill, how are you going to be able to do what's required? Carry water, carry your sanitation, dig a hole to bury your sanitation. Whatever it is you need to do, just on the basics. I'm not even talking about high-skilled stuff. If you can't go outside and work on your project that you're going to do for a 15-minute video without talking about how you're dying in the heat, you're not going to be able to dig that hole to bury your sanitation or carry water. I think the first step in the prepping is get on your meat diet. And I'm that convinced of it nowadays. I'm just that convinced of it. And I know the people in the comment section are going to go ballistic. Oh, I can't do that. I got to do this and I got to do that. My health won't allow it. Well, I'm saying that's fine if you believe your doctors, but doctors are lying to us. Otherwise, I wouldn't be blind in my right eye. What he would have done is told me what was wrong with me, which was mold poisoning. When I figured that out, I was able to get rid of the rash without taking drugs. Right now I'm taking probiotics. Seems to be helping a little bit. So maybe there's something wrong with my digestive system where I'm not making enough probiotics. So maybe figure out how to make yogurt and that kind of stuff. But regardless, that's off subject. But my dad was talking to 2 doctors and he was talking about how I went on this carnivorous diet, and he does this kind of stuff just to see if he can get a reaction out of them. Just anybody he's talking to, he's always been that way. It's kind of fun to watch. And he says, yeah, my son went on a carnivorous diet and he's as healthy as an ox. I mean, he's off his asthma medication and his shoulders all of a sudden healed, and he can run up a hill like he's a 14-year-old kid. Doctor said, oh, tell him to stop immediately. Now think about this. All my problems he just explained to him have been cured. You need to tell him to stop that immediately. He's going to die of a heart attack within a few months. You can't eat that much meat and survive. And so the other doctor agreed with him. Oh yeah, you need to tell him to stop doing that. And Dad's like, my son doesn't care if he dies in 2 months. He'd rather be able to walk up the hill. You know, not being able to breathe is not worth living for very long, and it isn't. It was always miserable. I had to carry that firewood up a hill, and I just could not breathe. It was the most excruciating thing I'd ever done, was carrying well, I forget how many truckloads it was, 5 or 6 truckloads of firewood up a huge, remember, we live in this mountainous area, up this huge hill. Oh, I would have done anything to make the pain stop. Well, now it is. So if it kills me, so be it. So if you click this up next box to take the video where I was talking about the FBI knocked on the door. So if I can inspire you to get healthy, even if you don't believe in SHTF, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.